You know, we academic types, we really claim to love irony. We love irony. And if a story or a poem or a novel that we like does not have irony, we will work to put it in there. But really, I have found that pretty much everyone loves irony. And I wonder if we love irony because it feels familiar. And I wonder if it feels familiar because there is something in our nature that trends towards irony. That we love irony because it is something innate within us. That is part of what we will be talking about today. Welcome to Strip Cover Lit, where we squeeze the bigger picture out of literature. I am Adrian Ford, and we are here for another poetry discussion over Ulysses by Alfred Lord Tennyson. And I want to take a second to apologize. The long-form reviews for The Call of Cthulhu, The Willows, and The Legend of Sleepy Hollow are on the way. It turns out they're going to be very long-form reviews, so they are taking me a lot more time than I had anticipated. Again, the poem in question is Ulysses by Alfred Lord Tennyson. This video will appear in the poetry discussion playlist here on the channel. Now over 800 videos strong, over 800 poems in that playlist. The poem reads as such. It little profits that an idle king by this still hearth among these barren crags, matched with an aged wife, I met and dole unequal laws unto a savage race that hoard and sleep and feed and know not me. I cannot rest from travel. I will drink life to thee, lees. All times I have enjoyed greatly, have suffered greatly, both with those that loved me, and alone, on shore, and when through scudding drifts the rainy heads. Vexed the dim sea, I am become a name, for always roaming with a hungry heart. Much have I seen and known, cities of men and manners, climates, councils, governments, myself not least, but honored of them all, and drunk delight of battle with my peers. Far on the ringing plains of windy Troy, I am a part of all that I have met, yet all experience is an arch wherethrough gleams that untraveled world whose margin fades forever and forever when I move. How dull it is to pause, to make an end, to rust unburnished, not to shine in use, as though to breathe were life. Life piled on life were all too little, and of one to me little remains, but every hour is saved. From that eternal silence something more, a bringer of new things, and vile it were for some 3 suns to store and hoard myself and this gray spirit yearning in desire to follow knowledge like a sinking star, beyond the utmost bound of human thought. This is my son, mine own Telemachus, to whom I leave the scepter and the isle, well loved of me, discerning to fulfill this labor by slow prudence, to make mild a rugged people, and through soft degrees subdue them to the useful and the good. Most blameless is he, centered in the sphere of common duties, decent not to fail in offices of tenderness, and pay meet adoration to my household gods when I am gone. He works his work, I mine. There lies the port, the vessel puffs her sail, There gloom the dark, broad seas, my mariners, souls that have toiled and wrought and thought with me, that ever with a frolic welcome took the thunder and the sunshine, and opposed free hearts, free foreheads. You and I are old. Old age hath yet his honor and his toil. Death closes all, but something ere the end, some work of noble note may yet be done, not unbecoming men that strove with gods. The lights begin to twinkle from the rocks, the long day wanes, the slow moon climbs, the deep moans round with many voices. Come, my friends, 'tis not too late to seek a newer world. Push off, and sitting well in order, smite the sounding furrows, for my purpose holds to sail beyond the sunset and the baths of all the western stars until I die. It may be that the gulfs will wash us down. It may be we shall touch the happy isles and see the great Achilles whom we knew. Though much is taken, much abides. And though we are not now that strength which in old days moved earth and heaven, that which we are, we are. One equal temper of heroic hearts, made weak by time and fate, but strong in will, to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield. So, I talked about irony in the opening, and that's what we have here. We have an ironic conceit in that. So Ulysses is the Latinized version of Odysseus. So it's basically just a poem about Odysseus from the Odyssey, right? And the irony of this plot to this poem is that in the Odyssey, Odysseus was struggling to get home. He was a hero struggling to get home. Now that hero is home, and he is heart sick for adventure. He is longing for a return to adventure. What is Ulysses? At the heart of things, at the soul of things, Ulysses is a hero. And a hero has to win. If a hero goes without battle, if a hero goes without struggle, if a hero goes without strife, if a hero goes without victory, is he a hero? How long can he call himself a hero? One of the things that I talk about pretty often on this channel, because I dedicate some of the sort of mental cycles on this channel to writing as well. How long can you go without writing and call yourself a writer? How does that work? How long do you get to do that thing? How long do you get to call yourself that thing without doing that thing, I guess I should say. So, at home, is Ulysses a hero? When I was a kid, one of the things you would always sort of hear was that an old dog goes off to die, and he always dies facing the east. He goes off to die in a noble fashion. And he always dies facing the east, waiting on that new day, that new adventure, that new car to chase, that new cat with which to fight, that new ball to run down. The old dog goes off to die, and he always dies facing the rising sun. It's the same thing that we think about heroes. It's the same thing that we think about the good death. The irony here of the hero returning home and having to yearn for adventure so that he's not really a hero anymore. And I want to ask a question that might not sound fair. What is it that men consider the good death? The good death. There, maybe a year ago, there were all these sort of memes on social media of the good death heading into battle one last time, something like that. Maybe that's not fair. Maybe I only think that that is a masculine ideal of the good death because I'm a man. Maybe that's not fair at all. So maybe that's not a poetic idea. Maybe that's not fair. So I did the most poetic thing I could think of. I asked Google, and Google has an AI function, and AI is always completely fair, correct? AI knows everything. Well, here's what AI does do. AI aggregates the sort of common knowledge on anything. So this is very interesting. I'm not trying to force artificial intelligence upon you, but this is interesting as a talking point because what it gives us is the sort of zeitgeist around what the good death is in the masculine ideal. I asked Google, what is the masculine ideal of the good death? And without hesitation, it gave me this. The traditional masculine ideal of a good death is often rooted in honor, courage, self-sacrifice, and maintaining dignity and control in the final moments. The stiff upper lip, right? This ideal emphasizes virtues such as stoicism, reason, and an acceptance of fate, often in the context of duty to family, community, or country. Key aspects include heroism and sacrifice. In many historical contexts, particularly in ancient Greece and Rome, dying bravely in battle or giving one's life for others was considered the highest form of the good death, ensuring a lasting legacy and social status. Stoicism and reason. Influenced by Stoic philosophy, a good death, so Stoicism and reason, we're getting right back here, right? Stoicism and reason. Influenced by Stoic philosophy, a good death for men might involve approaching death with rationality and calm demeanor, and without fear, viewing it as a natural part of life or a liberation of the soul. Dignity and control. Maintaining self-control, independence, and dignity is a significant theme. This often translates to a desire to avoid being a burden to others. That dog walking off to be on its own. A theme that persists in modern discussions about end-of-life care and medical assistance in dying. Fulfilling duties. The ideal includes ensuring all worldly and familial responsibilities are met, final wishes are expressed, and arrangements, legal, financial, etc., are in order before passing. Legacy. A good death is often seen as one that reflects a life well lived and leaves a positive memory or ennobling icon in the minds of survivors. So here's the thing. Ulysses is a hero. Ulysses talks about a gray existence, right? The graying of the beard. I got a little bit of gray beard here, right? Getting older and knowing that there might be fewer adventures on the horizon than there are from whence you came. How many adventures do you have left? The irony, the stark irony, the dark irony here is that so long as Ulysses is at home, domesticated, if you will, he cannot die the good death. The ideal good death, self-sacrifice, dying in battle, going down on your shield, come back with your shield or on it. You can't do that while you are domesticated. So his entire struggle to get home was really just an entire struggle hoping that there would be more adventure. That, I think, is the irony of this poem. That is all I have for this poetry discussion. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting a like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other literature lovers. If you find yourself here by chance but not design, literature is the only thing I talk about on this channel, dropping multiple videos every week. There's poetry every Monday, and as always, I hope to have you back for the next one.